All right, let's get ready. And we are live from the Shoopception screen. It's your boy Shoop with an original video on sports betting that you might like to see. So, on my FanDuel account, you might notice that I have almost $4,000 in here. What if I told you I had $1,000 in there about 3 weeks ago? What if I told you that this is even with me already placing some bets tonight? So I already have $600. That's 6 units worth of bets tonight placed already. Am I crazy? Or am I getting really lucky? Well, it could be a little bit of both. But I show you this balance up here, not to make you jealous or, to brag, but I want to show you this balance because to show you what is possible when you have a system in place and you follow that system to a T. And what I'm going to show you today is the strategy that I've used to bet on all sports across the sports landscape that has made me this kind of profit. But let me explain some things first. So, starting with FanDuel. So, FanDuel is one of the most popular sports books, most well known sports books, that is, across the country. It's legal in at least 25 states. It's on commercials for all the major sports programs. Everyone knows about FanDuel. FanDuel, therefore, gets lots of action every day. So FanDuel has some pretty good odds on a lot of these props. But the thing is, FanDuel offers lots and lots of props to choose from. So FanDuel, even though they might set these odds, like the spread odds, to be very sharp, they might not be getting all the odds to be very sharp. And that's where we get into player props. NBA player props are the easiest way to make money. And to find the player props that we want to place bets on, let me show you to a website called Pinnacle. Pinnacle, right here, is the ultimate sports book for getting the most accurate information on as to whether or not a sports betting line, is correct or not. So we look right here with all these lines right here. These lines are set based on the bets and the bet sizes that Pinnacle gets from its users. See, Pinnacle doesn't limit you from how big of a bet you want to place, unlike most sports books. They'll gladly take your large bet as a source of information as to where the money is going on all these props. So they set their lines accordingly. And as you see here, the juice on these spread bets is -104 and -106. If you go here to Pinnacle, same prop, the spread that is, but it's -108 and -112. So 4 points higher, 6 points higher here. So about 10 points worth of VIG total between these two options here that are added on FanDuel. So FanDuel, basically, to sum it all up, FanDuel's screwing you over. FanDuel is charging more for their odds than Pinnacle is. You can see Pinnacle is rapidly changing their odds too. But my point being is Pinnacle is where we get our most accurate betting information from. All these lines tell you what the sharp bettors are betting on and what the whole betting landscape is to form the most accurate line possible. Now, to figure out what the true percentage of these bets are, we have to be able to convert it into a no vig fair odds percentage, as we see right here. So that's what -108 and -102 get us. The -108 prop has a 50.7% chance of winning. So these odds right here, the no vig odds, are essentially what the price would be if there was no VIG involved for these sportsbook. If they charged you exactly what the odds should be, without taking their fair cut. FanDuel needs to take their fair cut pretty much in order to pay out their users. That's how they make money. But to say that you're going to be a winner just by knowing exactly what to pick, it's foolishness, because to find odds like this on a spread bet, you're going to have to look very deep and hard. But on player props, however, so if we go, I already bet on these 7 o'clock games, so let's go to 7:40 game. So these spreads are all very tight. They're also very accurate, but they're going to be hard to beat on the open market. Player props, however, a lot of these player props are wide open. These odds are a lot farther apart. So this is where we can start to find some discrepancies between the prices on Pinnacle and the prices on FanDuel. So let's click on this game. So what we're trying to do, so let's say we had these odds. We're going to take this no vig odd, or actually we're going to take the percentage, so the 50.7% chance of winning. And we're going to open up our expected value calculator. What this tells us is using our unit size and plugging in our win probability, what odds gives us a fair advantage. So if we plug in -108, you'll see that despite the fact that it's -108 on Pinnacle, if we were to place that bet, it would have an expected value in the negative. And essentially what that's telling us is every 100 times that we place this bet in the long run, we're going to lose on average $2.36. So you tell me, do you want to be putting your money on something that is expected to lose value over time? Yes, you might win this prop in particular, but place it over and over again, and you're essentially guaranteeing that you're not going to make money. But if we got the same prop for, let's say, an odds of 100, well, now we're getting a little bit of advantage. We have a 1.40 positive expected value, and we're going to be making $1.40 every time we place a bet like this, with a win probability of 50.7, but odds of 100. The odds for a plus 100 bet are, 50%. So we're getting 0.7% edge in probability and $1.40 in expected value based on our wager size. So you can kind of see how placing this bet is much better than placing this bet, But does placing this bet mean it's better than this bet? Well, it's better, but neither are worth betting because you're not making money on these bets. And you might look at this and say, well, it's $1.40. $1.40 is like nothing. It's barely an advantage. Well, it's true. I only bet edges with at least 2% or more, but if you were to bet enough of these props and you do it thousands of times over and over again where you're constantly getting positive expected value, you're guaranteed to make money in the long run because you're just consistently getting better probabilities for your money. Let's say if you were to consistently bet 50% odds at odds of 100, well, then you're guaranteed to go, in the middle. You're not going to make anything. And if you do all the way at 110, well, then you're going to make $5 every time. So you can see the advantages. The bigger your numbers get, the higher your expected value gets. So you want to find as big of an advantage as possible. And when you look at these player prop bets, well, typically bets are at a -110 to -110 VIG. So you can see, like, if the sports books mess up, we can find some good lines. And boy, they mess up all the time. And the reason for that is because there's so many sports books out there where people can place bets on. So they're constantly placing bets here, placing bets there. And FanDuel wants to make sure that you're placing bets on their site. So they want to be constantly updating their odds based on what the market says. They want you to bet on their platform. And if we get enough people on one side of a bet, well, what we're doing is we're helping out the sports book in a way, because we're kind of like, hey, your line's kind of moving this way, well, you should move it back that way. That's what we're doing when we're placing bets just like this. So enough talking. Let's try to find a bet. So we're going to look at CJ McCollum and his assists at 5.5. And we're going to see what his line is at. So lines are moving. And right now, the line here is at minus 124 and 102. So if we plug in these odds at minus 156 and 118 into the no-vig odds calculator, we can see that the no-vig odds are about minus 133, and the winning percentage is 57.5. So if we put in the odds here, which is minus 124, we expect to make $3 on this bet every time we place it, which means we are going to place this bet. It's that simple. This is a winning sports bet. It is not guaranteed to win tonight, but a bet like this will win in the long run. And if you place enough of these types of bets, then you are guaranteed to make money. It is that simple. It's how I built my bankroll up 35 units in 3 weeks, which, to be honest with you, is probably me overachieving. It is, you're going to have your variance. I happen to hit some really good variance these past few weeks. So you're going to have some nights where your picks are going to lose. You're not going to be winning like I am every night. But if you keep doing this over the long run, you're not going to go under, especially if you stick to whatever unit size you're doing. So let's find another prop. So we don't want to bet twice on the same player in case of an injury, and we don't want to really hedge our bet on a player. We want to try to maximize our profit. Let's say Isaiah Joe under 8.5 points. So let's look at Isaiah Joe's points total. It's at minus 120. We get this at minus 139. So let's see what happens when we plug in those odds on Pinnacle. We put them in the no-vig odds calculator. You see we get a winning percentage of 54.38%. And if we took those minus 120 odds in here, you see that it's not a winning bet. So even though it's a 19-cent difference on this line, it still does not give us an advantage. So we're not going to bet it. So we're going to move on to a different prop. So let's look at Jonas Valanciunas and his player combo. I'm going to go all the way down. He does not have an alt line. Maybe he'll have a regular line. He does not. FanDuel doesn't always include everyone's line for whatever reason. So you kind of just have to take what they give you, but they will give you stuff. His rebounds is at over 9.5. Perfectly juiced there. So, I'm going to look through these, and I'm not always going to find a great bet. But if I keep looking, I will find them. I just, you got to be persistent with it. You just kind of got to find opportunities where you can. Chet Holmgren over 13.5 points. It's at minus 110 here, but it's at minus 134 on this site. So we're going to plug in these odds once again. Minus 134, 101. We get a 53.51 percentage. It's a $2 advantage. That's enough for me to want to place this bet. So that is what I am going to do. So Chet Holmgren to go over his points. So we kind of exhausted most of our options here. Let's look at Shai real quick, see if he's got any advantages anywhere. Look at this. His line for points is at minus 101 and minus 131. And I just saw the under was at minus 102. You can see we're going to get a good advantage on this. It's 53.02. We're getting it at minus 102. We have a $5 advantage. This is a great bet to make. It's not just a good bet. It's a great bet. And it's a bet that a lot of people aren't going to want to place because, going for a player's under, like a star player's under, is scary. But we're not scared because we know math. And math is what is going to make us money. So I had 3 bets on that game. So now I'm going to go to the other 740 games and place some more bets. Let's go to the Nets Heat. We're going to go all the way back. All right. So Nets Heat. Let's find a bet here. Bam Adebayo. Over 18.5 is at minus 160. What does FanDuel have it at? They have his line at 19.5. Well, what about his alt points? We're going to go to the 18.5. It's at minus 144. It's not going to be big enough for advantage. Generally, I'll try to look for at least a 20-point advantage. But we can look at his PRA and see if we can get an advantage there. Speed is the name of the game with this because you can find a good bet and you can run to the sports book and it's just not going to be there. So you want to be fast, but you also want to be careful. You don't want to place a bet that's wrong by accident. Let's see what else we got here. Dorian Finney-Smith rebounds. Over 5.5. His line is at minus 118 here. We can see it's at minus 148 on Pinnacle, that is. We're going to plug in those odds with that. 113, 55.97. We see that it gives us $3.4 of expected value. It's a bet. It's a bet. We're going to place it. What else do we have here? Where else can we find an advantage? Let's look at some player threes. Maybe Kyle Lowry could be an advantage. Nothing there. Lonnie Walker. So right here, it says minus 140 and 105. We put these odds in. And you can see that that's our odds for his under. That is what the percentage comes out to be. And we can get it for 126. What does that give us? It gives us almost a $3 advantage. Once again, we're going to place this bet. Doesn't matter if it's underdog or favorite for me, as long as I have an advantage. Mikal Bridges, his under in points and his PRA. So let's start with his points. So his points line is set at 23.5, and I believe this was set at 24. So we might not have an advantage here, but we will look anyway. It's always kind of just good just to see what they priced it at. So that's priced pretty fairly. We're going to look next at his PRA all the way down here. So I believe it was 32.5. So that's at minus 108, minus 122. Let's see if that's enough of an advantage for us to place it. So minus 143 and 109. We can see it. It's not quite. It's just at the same marker. So we're going to look for a different prop. Tyler Hero rebounds. Over under 5.5. His under set to 5.5. Minus 128. Minus 150. It could be, but I can already tell it's not going to be enough of an advantage. Let's look at his threes. Right on the money. Again, for the most part, I'd say about 99% of bets are unprofitable. They set the lines pretty well, but it's finding those outliers. That's what's going to make you a good sports bettor. All right, so his points are set to 22.5, and we have at minus 102 and minus 130. So we have a bit of an advantage here, but once again, I will show you it's not enough. It's barely $1, so it's not worth placing, even though it does have an edge. So it's not the worst bet in the world, but it's not one I'm going to be making. Royce O'Neal, player threes. This one's interesting. So it's at 127 and minus 168. So if we plug in those odds, once again, we have minus 142 with minus 140. It's an edge, but not enough of an edge to be worth placing. That's definitely going to be under 2%. What about his over 2.5 assists at minus 193 for Mikal Bridges? Well, his line is set to 3.5, so I don't think we're going to get much there, and we won't. Very juiced. What about Jimmy Butler rebounds? His rebounds are over at 5.5. So right now, I'm looking around. I don't see a whole lot I can place. I'll look at Cam Thomas and his points. He's been a bucket recently, but just no advantage here. Maybe Ben Simmons and his rebounds, possibly an advantage, and just not quite enough. We'll take a look at that under. I saw it was at plus 110, but minus 126, minus 105. Slight advantage, not enough of an advantage. What about his assists? Again, nothing there. So we're just going to move on. We're going to go a different 740 game. We're going to go Pacers at Celtics. But yeah, so basically I'm just doing this over and over again, and that is how I find my bets. So if you found this entertaining, please let me know, and I'll gladly answer any questions you may have. So thank you.